But Asterion should be a bit less of a concern here. Perfect. Before we got too mutated by the Kako Demon, we were able to take them out. Slightly concerned about that. And what are you going to call in? Ooh, holy crap. Bunch of scary friends. Freezing, but no fire, so that's good. What do you have? Vorpal, that's also good. Let's just throw out a few casts of Manifold Assault. I might even go for an early Potion Petition here. Try and get some variation of haste, and we do. We get haste and heal wounds. So that is perfect. And one more Manifold Assault. We're still super close to being able to recast statue form if it does manage to run out. I don't like that you're convoking again. This is less than ideal, to say the least. I don't want to lose another experience level here. It makes us lose more health as well. So I think we will just have to Potion Petition once more. Just get heal wounds, hey. I'll do it though. We just need to survive until the telly takes effect here, and in fact we'll take one step. Perfect. And that does allow us to get that teleportation off, saving our skin. Immediately run into our friends once more, but this time we're not surrounded, so that's at the very least a better position to find ourselves in. As long as this buddy doesn't keep healing too much. Perfect, there we are. And there's the Convoker once more. Jeez. This has definitely been an unfortunate ride in terms of the Convoker. It's going to be hard for us to deal enough damage to take them out. This is how the rest of the run had gone. We definitely would have had a lot more trouble making it even this far in the run. But we'll double cast our acid there. Nice, we're able to take out the Convoker. And that ice hits real hard. Let us Potion Petition one last time here. Hopefully just one last time. Nice, we get a very cheap one that gives us healing that we need so desperately. Jeez, you're doing a lot more damage than I expected, sir. I thought we'd be okay against you, if I'm being honest. Guess becoming frozen isn't exactly great. Sorry, yeah, we've been in a bit of a downward tumble here for the last little bit, so I've been lackluster in terms of reading chat here. But Colgate, you were saying with Ignis, they're already weakened, and they use their last strength to help you on your quest and answer your quest, even though it ends up killing them. So that's one of those things that it's sad, but it's kind of beautiful, right? And thank you also, Colgate, for pointing out my mistake there, because I had forgotten that Creeping Cold, much like we encountered, or the spell that we encountered in the Desolation, has increased damage based on the number of adjacent walls, right? So that was definitely a bit of a misplay on my part, and good to keep in mind. Wow, all the strong uniques on this floor, huh? And this buddy can silence, which is scary. Mass Confusion, shouldn't have to worry about. We also should double check our rings here, because I didn't realize we had 2 of these fancy eyeball rings, but nothing too interesting there. Your spells are affected by silence, so we can definitely beat the angel to the punch here by engulfing them, even though he might have just stepped out of the water instantaneously, which is not good for us. Oof. Yep, that's a lot of damage when we're not in statue form, huh? So this is a situation where I probably will burn up a blink. I prefer not to lose another one of our lives. Are you actually faster than us? That is too bad. I was hoping to be able to just run away here. If we get hasted, we are able to, so we could go for a combo. Let's see, if I'm willing to use one more linking scroll here, it will most likely get us out of the situation. We can blink back here, drink a haste, and start sprinting. And we might even leave the rest of vaults for the time being, because I don't like having 2 uniques this strong back to back. I'd prefer to fight them with something like a Phantom Mirror at our disposal. The other option would be Scroll of Fog, actually. In fact, let's start with Fog, then drink Haste, and then we can use that as an escape. And that way we don't have to waste our few blinking scrolls, and we can instead just get the heck out of there. Statue form left us at an inopportune moment, but managed to escape in one piece here, and we're getting there in terms of reaching level 21 once more and regaining our lost life. And yeah, letting us know as well that we don't actually take the damage if we are not next to walls, which is very good to know. Thank you very much. You rarely get this far? Me too. Definitely is a bit of a hit or miss prospect some of the time. And on top of that, I don't always go for vaults, especially in a 3-rune game. I'm so often... Slime is probably one of my favorite go-to sections to clear for the 3rd rune. So it's been a wee bit since we explored all this way. But very happy to have made it out in one piece here. So we'll just leave for the time being. I believe that treasure trove, in fact, let's search for trove here. Let's head back. It's just a floor up. You need resistance potions? Resistance potions. So 2 more of those and we can potentially try out what you have in store. But for the time being, I think we'll head down into depths. Right now we're using some canceling of resistances in order to leave us in a slightly better place, at least with no vulnerabilities, since a vulnerability is liable to just get us killed instantaneously. In fact, let's leave real quick because we see that we do have fire to deal with down here. We take a peek down. Oh, fire and ice. What fun. Let us see. I guess we don't need the willpower right now, so we could switch out that ring for a resist cold, and that at least leaves us at a net positive instead of losing one of them. And now we can potentially do just a little bit of stair dancing if possible and try and reduce this fight to a slightly more manageable condition. So we were in danger of taking a whole lot of damage each and every turn, calling a whole lot of attention to ourselves on top of that. Bunch of dragons. At least none of the dragons are in a position to push us off the stairs, so that is slightly better. We don't have to worry quite as much about being trampled, though we're not completely safe either. These are always the scariest moments of entering new areas because this is our only way down, so we can't do any dancing around, pitter-patter, and instead we kind of have to just face the music. You've never got a 3rd rune. Well, I'm sure it's just around the corner. It's always going to be the first time getting the 3rd rune. It's super satisfying because of how difficult it is for sure. You know, I managed to get the 3rd rune every once in a while, and that's with... I always like to mention that it's something like over 12 years of playing the game, but not super consistently, which I also like to specify to assuage my pride a bit, because I do make a lot of mistakes, and I do stupid things, but on and off, been coming back to the game, and over the time, I've definitely picked up a thing or two, and have slowly but surely gotten myself to a position of being able to win relatively frequently. It's one of the rare occasions where I do kind of wish that I played online, because you are able to just keep track of all your scores, and I do find it a very fun idea to know exactly how consistently I can get a victory. But I've been surprised so far at during our Win with Every Species series that we've managed to do okay, despite having some ruts that we've fallen into, especially recently. I'm looking at you, Pound Tongas, that's going on right now, throwing away a few very promising runs due to my own ineptitude. But, over the years, I've definitely slowly but surely gone better, and I'm sure you will too, if you keep playing. Of course, you don't have to by any stretch of the imagination, but would always recommend it. But Earth Mage here is a bit of a pain in the butt for that LRD. We are unfortunately made out of stone, but we are able to take them out. Mostly by trying to range ourselves next to other enemies, because if we're next to a different enemy, then the LRD would hit them as well, so the Earth Mage will stop hitting us, and that is very good on our side of things. And we run into yet another one of the kind of scary uniques here. The Enchantress has a lot of painful abilities that we'll want to avoid dealing up against, plus the fact that she's just so highly evasive. Oh, and she has a Lagitang of Distortion. Oh, that's interesting. Well, well, well. Definitely don't really want to start fighting you. Well, we're on the back paw here, as it were. Already looking slightly low on magic, but we could make it work. One of the main things is that I would most likely want to change out for my willpower ring. Even with her ability to strip willpower, it's not, or that is potentially a better choice than just taking it here. We don't have a whole lot of completely unavoidable damage. I guess we have the Ice Blast wand, which if we take a peek, is up to 3d16. So that is 48? 48 damage, max. So we could take her out in 3 blasts, potentially killing her before she manages to cross the distance to us. But it is in no way guaranteed. What else do we have at our disposal? Mephitic Cloud, depending on what you're wearing. Any resistance to poison? Yes, your Fairy Dragon skills. Right. Right. Well, well, well. In that case, I might actually just read a teleport. We'll waste a couple turns here, just getting slightly further away. Am I vulnerable to fire? I'm not. We're at a net positive here. But we'll back ourselves into a corner a bit further away from the Enchantress. Oh, Nikola Tesla. Well, well, well. Fancy seeing you here, friend. Well, he's distracted by the dazzling coins. Oh, we silenced him, but of course the Enchantress follows right after, so we'll do one more teleport. Not getting very far with these, unfortunately. I'd really like to be sent to the other side of the level, but you can't always get what you want. So, let's step out of the deep water. Manifold Assault once more. Unfortunately, ooh, we're not in stone form. Just ran out at the worst moment. We could run away from the Etten. Getting hit by a rock is going to really hurt, and I think the ugly things can keep up with us. These are the unfortunate situations where things start cascading into a bit of a brutal situation. So let's maybe hands off, take a bit of a breath, a bit of a break, think about what you've got, and I'll even take this as an opportunity to rechat a bit here. One loss felt pretty bad where you went into the vault and there was a portal that led to an area which only showed Wand of Digging and Diggable Wall. After going through the portal, it showed a bunch of dangerous enemies behind that wall, and some of them were able to dig it as well. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of those portals can be very brutal vaults that they lead off into. I've definitely learned my lesson the hard way a couple times in the past as well. But here we go. We'll take a few steps. Don't know how the Eden is keeping up with us. There we go. We managed to lose them. Now we can re-engage statue form. Get a few hits in. With the knowledge that I might just want to teleport away one more time, but the danger there is that we'll just keep finding ourselves in worse and worse situations until we're spending all of our consumables for no real gain. So instead, we'll fight and we'll win. Perfect. No, I find those portal vaults very interesting and fun, but definitely, oftentimes, quite scary. Transformation is almost over once more here, and this buddy has a vampiric Lagitang. So we'll definitely extend our transformation to start off, and I might try and take out some of the posse here if possible. So we'll start with some Toxic Radiance mixed with Ignite Poison. Perfect, and we are able to take them out. Fortunately, the Enchantress themselves, or herself rather, was caught up in the dazzling gold that we left behind, so we were able to avoid fighting her at the same time, but we'll rest up. Maybe we'll start exploring this way. If we get enough of the floor explored, then we can definitely take on both the uniques without too much worry, and in fact, it looks like we will. So let's engage Plan Ice Blasts, shall we? Making sure to take advantage of undodgeable attacks, since again she is so evasive here. But we can avoid that slightly with just a wee bit of strategery. And dang, I moved up there trying to position them so that we could hit her one last time without hitting ourselves. But we might even just have to take it. Or we can take one more step, rounding the corner here. Of course, Nicola has found us as well. Apparently, we're just not going to be given the opportunity to fight just one of these friends at once here. Well, well, well. You think they have reduced vaults where it doesn't show enemies? That's good. Yeah, a bit more transparency so that you actually know what you're getting yourself into. Can have a bit more... what's the word I'm looking for? Jeez, I'm blanking completely, but you can act on your own volition and decide whether it is a vault without having to risk quite as much, unassumedly. But this is tough because Nicola hits like an absolute truck, but we really want to try and fight the Enchantress here. So I'm going to start with Smoke. Ooh, and she dodged around to that side. That works out perfectly. We'll hit both of them with an Ice Blast. How dare you hit us, Nicola? You're hitting all your friends here as well. What are you doing? What are you doing? Unfortunately, even with resistance to electricity, Nicola deals a whole lot of damage. And if we, in fact, take a look at Chain Lightning here, the further it travels, the less damage it does. So if we can try and take him out before he gets close to us, that would be ideal. Unfortunately, because we rounded a corner, he's already quite close. But we'll try our best. Start some poison to begin. Then I will actually Potion Petition, hoping... Ooh, no heals whatsoever. That's not good. But Haste as well as Brilliance will hopefully not die here. Perfect, we did not die right away. And then Ignite Poison. Take out all these Spriggans. Now we have another opportunity, so I will Potion Petition once more. This time, hopefully a heal. We did at least get heal wounds, so that's good. We can use the smoke to keep Nicola away from us. Again, he's getting distracted by the dazzling gold. At least he was for a little bit. Oh man, this is going to be rough. Could keep using our smoke, and in fact, we could use the smoke and dangerously get rid of statue form, and we would most likely be able to get away. I guess our movement speed with haste is actually half decent as well, so I think I will smoke, and then we're able to at least keep pace with him. Can try and use corners to our advantage as well. How are you keeping up with us? Are you fast, sir? We must be moving at slightly higher than 1.0 and slightly lower than 1.1, because he is managing to keep pace despite our hasted state. Alternatively, we could throw out a silence now and try to take him out. Yeah, we could have canceled Stone Form, but I thought that we were fast enough, so I wanted to keep it around in case he popped around so we could survive one hit, because with no resistance to electricity, we're dead in one shot. Not guaranteed, obviously. With a 3D blank roll, you could deal as low as 3 damage. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But I would rather, or I decided to play it safe. Whether or not that was the right call, of course, is open for debate, but we'll throw OTR and then silence 1, 2, 3. I don't know if silence is going to reach you. Take one more step. Hop around this corner. Let's keep Ogleb's Toxic Radiance going, and now's the time. Pop that silence. We'll walk up to Nicola, deal with him the old-fashioned way, and that is the most straightforward way to defeat that unique, for sure, by a long shot. Even though we might have actually gone the File of Floods back up, so I might have misplayed there and accidentally used a scroll when we could have used a rechargeable, but these things definitely happen. Mistakes have been made, and we can hopefully try to avoid making them again in the future. Hello, Hobgoblin. You've got to be a shapeshifter, right? But even that would be a very low hit dice shapeshifter. I feel so bad for eviscerating that goblin, as the game so lovingly puts it. Oh me, oh my. Absolutely brutal. You know, I've been playing on autopilot for the last little bit here, and what I really need to do, I think, is take a bit of a restock of our situation. Because, at this point in time, we could learn a decent number of spells that are probably fully castable. So let's head out of depths, take a deep breath, and reset ourselves, recenter, find out where we are. Could have also used the chess piece and hoped, probably not a good choice though, right? I'm usually a bit wary to use the chess piece, especially against an enemy like that. He has really high, or relatively high, willpower, and so even if we use it, it has a chance not to take effect, I believe. I think I've seen people shrug off the effects before, but on top of that, yeah, if we hasted him, it would have been a bit of a sketchy situation. I'm somebody who has not taken the opportunity to use Zom's chess piece very often. I always carried it around with me, believing that maybe one day I'll use it, but alas, not thus far. But okie dokie. We could unlearn a spell or two and learn Ozokubu's Refrigeration. It disallows us from drinking potions, but Potion Petition isn't a potion technically. So that could be something that we look out for in the future. And do I go for Storm Form? I've never gone for it before, but it was on the menu and on the list of things that we wanted to try out this run, if mostly because I've heard that Storm Form mixed with Manifold Assault is supposedly an absurd amount of damage overall. In fact, if we take a look at Storm Form here, it lets us walk through the air as a raging, lightning-filled tempest. Our melee attacks are strengthened, electrified, and strike all adjacent foes as well. So I'm curious, I think that might actually synergize with Manifold Assault in some way, but even if it doesn't, they're still strengthened and electrified, so that'd be absolutely incredible. Plus, adding more evasion on a cat, pretty sweet too. So it was definitely on our list here, both Storm Form and Dragon Form. Dragon Form less so because of it being necessarily a fantastic move on its own, but just because this entire run was predicated upon the dream that we would turn a cat into a dragon at some point. So transmutations being trained up further is definitely on the menu here. And let's see. We could, now that we're at dodging 25, for once, we'll take a break from dodging. Keep unarmed combat training up, because that will always be our go-to here. And it's one of the few weapon skills that fully takes advantage of being trained all the way up to level 27. And so we'll probably end up trying to get there definitely over the course of a 15 rune run, but sooner rather than later as well on top of that. Ice magic I probably want to leave on for a little bit here, but it is time that we start training around just a wee bit. And in fact, could go transmutations. I guess air magic would be easier to train and would also bring down the failure rate for storm form. We're a little all over the place with our skills. I know on our last stream on Sunday, we had some folks talking about how much it pains them to see skills left at non-round integer numbers, and we're doing that all over the place on this build, but it's because we have been jumping around as to what we've been training. And unfortunately, as much as I would like to alleviate the stress that people feel upon seeing these ugly numbers, we can't afford to just throw experience willy-nilly, and we're being fairly deliberate with where we're switching to and from. Stormform also gives you a blink. Yeah, it allows you to turn yourself into a lightning bolt, I was reading. I'm excited to try it out, because I have not had the opportunity before, so I'm very curious as to how that will play out here. But okie dokie. First off, before I forget once more, I'm learning Blink. That leaves us with 4 skill, or 4 spell levels rather. So if we want to learn Ozokubu's for now, that was 7, I believe. It is 7. So we have 8 Scrolls of Amnesia. What would we like to forget? Maybe Summon Ice Beast. It's been a while since we got to use it. I mean, it's useful to put a body in the way, but the Ice Beasts are going to be absolutely slaughtered almost instantaneously. So I think we will remove that for now, and we will instead give ourselves Ozokubu's Refrigeration. But yeah, whether you are casting Ozokubu's or you start yourself off as a mummy, Gozag is one of the best deity choices for being unable to drink potions, because it allows you to cheat the system just a wee bit and still get off some of the wonderful effects that we managed to find. Capital D has dropped your last pickup. Nice. I remembered that as a viewer tip from a previous stream. So finally able to actually put it into employ here. Perfect. This is where all the hobgoblins came from. Okuwaru brought them down here to worship him and then absolutely betrayed that trust by letting them all die horrendously. Demon Trident of Flaming is not great. We definitely need to start by turning ourselves into a statue. We take a peek at this buddy. Susceptible to cold? Could be a good opportunity to try it out. So let's make sure we have all these lizards in sight. And let's Ozokubu's. Dealing a nice amount of damage, so we'll launch that off again, and we are able to take out all of those salamander buddies. Not too bad. And what macros do we have right now? We mainly just have our 5 spells. So if we open up our macro menu here, all of these are just cast regardless of whether they're enemies that are susceptible on screen and the spell number itself. The 0 is actually a leftover from our Palantonga runs to put our roll onto an easy to reach ability. But that's it for me at the moment. There are definitely a lot of macros that you can't use. In the past, we've had some quick switch macros where we set it up to switch from a certain ring to a different one just on a button press when we have really spotty resistances, I guess, and we had to be actively switching all the time, especially in certain areas of the game. So that was super useful to have around. We will Manifold Assault the Rakshasa here, able to hit them all even if they clone themselves. Fortunately, we're left with just 2 little magic points to finish them off, but waiting a few turns, walking around, we're able to cast 1 last Manifold Assault. Not too bad. Ooh, and hello, Hellion. Always scary. Damnation is going to be a really brutal part of this run in general here. If just because it's unavoidable and we don't have a high health pool, so that will always be something we worry about, especially as we get later into the 15 runes here. Hellions themselves aren't necessarily the be-all end-all because they're at least squishy enough that we're able to take them out with just a few spell casts. But I'm nervous, to say the least, for some of the later fights that we'll encounter in that regard. Definitely need to take out this hasted iron troll here. Perfect. And that should do it. I don't love these stairs, so I'm actually going to head over to another one here and just see if we can get a slightly more manageable setup. Ooh, we got dislocated off the stairs. I think I'm still okay to at least start the fight here, as long as we don't get trampled too far out of the area of influence here. We'll even switch over to normal attacks. Ooh, maybe not. It's a short paralysis, but it will be absolutely brutal. It'll get rid of our evasion capabilities here. Yes, ooh, what were our odds of hitting you? 3% chance to evade, then I will just Manifold Assault. Oh, and wow, we do not manage to take it out. That's shocking. We do on the second attempt, though. And now we'll walk back to the stairs, play it safe, finish off the fight up here. Does placing macros on numbers mess up with moving the numpad? It does not, no. As long as, yeah, it moves, or I've at least set them up on my top row numbers. For the longest time, I was also using my function keys, but that doesn't always work out, especially since I now have some of my like mute functionality tied to those in one way or another. But no, fortunately, whenever I'm doing my manual movements here, I am just using the numpad to do so. Irregardless of our fancy schmancy macros. I think I read that tip somewhere online. I've been using it ever since, at least for the spellcasting macros, because it is nice to just have them right next to where my hands already sit on the keyboard. And it's easy to remember that they're just in the order that I learned them. You can always just swap out the spell slots as necessary to keep the most relevant 6 spells. There we go, that's what I was trying to say. On those numbers. I've definitely also done some other creative use of the macro system before, even though off the top of my head, I cannot remember too well what all of them were. But Tengu Reaver is a bit sketchy here, but fortunately, for a high evasion enemy like that, we are able to use OTR and Ignite Poison combination in order to get guaranteed damage going down. Otherwise, we can tab our way through a lot of these fights here. And you make temp macros for going around a pillar every time you pillar dance. That would maybe make me a bit more consistent with my pillar dancing, because in general I do just find it slightly too tedious, and I find myself most often just not bothering to pillar dance, which isn't great from a strategic point of view, at the very least. But nice, that's definitely a great strategy, just to make sure that you're not having to be fully aware, because so often when I am pillar dancing, I also make unfortunate mistakes and accidentally step in the wrong direction or things like that. So I could definitely see it being beneficial for somebody like me to do in the future. But in general, especially while on stream, I like to keep it relatively straightforward for which macros I have, just so that all of you lovely folks who are watching can get a fairly good representation of what exactly I'm doing at any given moment. But let's see, there is some cold resistance, there's fire resistance, Whip of Distortion as well, and the Frost Giant themselves. I don't like this, especially with the Flayed Ghost here, because one of my first thoughts is that we could start poisoning. None of these buddies have any resistance to poison on them, and same with these two as well, so that would be a fairly decent combination. But unfortunately, I don't want to spend too many turns, because we will just get flayed down and we don't have many hit points to go around in the first place. Alternatively, we could just start immediately tossing out our Manifold Assault and just hope we get a few decent hits. Maybe we'll do one Ozokubus. Okay. Let's do one Ozokubu. Losing our ability to use potions pretty early, but that deals decent damage to the Flayed Ghost and a lot of these Hell Knights as well. And then we'll follow that up with a Manifold Assault. Right, Distortion Whip. That's important to be slightly more cognizant of. In fact, though, this is probably a slightly preferable position for the most part. And now we are on the opposite side from the Distortion Whip. I could have seen us, though, taking a much worse roll there and getting banished to the Abyss, which we're at least at a slightly better position level-wise, so we could actually maybe afford to go down to the Abyss, but I'd like to get as many tools in our kit before heading down there as possible. So that's OTR, so we're dealing some constant damage to all these buddies, especially as the Tengu start coming in from above. We'll follow that up, I think, with another Ozokubus potentially. I'll hit, again, most of the enemies on screen. Who has the cold resistance? You do. You're relatively low health, so I think I will indeed refrigerate the entire screen once more. Ooh, and there's a Phantom Mirror in that vault. That's something that we've been desperately hoping for this entire time. I would not mind whatsoever grabbing a hold of that, but let's go for one more Manifold Assault. We managed to take out the buddy with the Distortion Whip, which is good. As soon as we have enough magic to afford Olgreb's Toxic Radiation, we'll probably send out another one of those. And of course, by afford, we mean being able to do that while still retaining enough magic points to potentially recast statue form if and when it runs out here. As is so often the case, I'm immediately wondering, do I want to switch over to Ignite Poison? It will get rid of all the poison on the Fire Giant without dealing too much damage to them because of their resistance, or rather probably immunity to fire, if I had to guess. No, just very resistant. Huh. Hell Knights get to be immune, but not you, hey bud? There we go. We did lose our statue form, so I'm glad we stuck around, or kept around, just enough magic to recast. And if this was a Reaver, I'd be in a bit more of a emergency situation here, but fortunately, don't have to worry about that. I think we will use the Ice Blast wand to just deal some overall damage to all of these highly evasive critters. And we do just need to gain one more level to regain another life, because we are sitting at just one, as we saw. Slime Branch completely safe for Jivio worshippers? I believe it is. And I do know at the very least that the end vault is open for you as a Jivio worshipper, which I think is really fun. But let's go with the potion petition now. Try and heal ourselves up while also giving ourselves some other comparative advantages if possible. I was hoping for magic and healing, of course, but beggars can't be choosers. So do we want healing and curing, or do we want haste and heal wounds? I think haste and heal wounds, and we'll hopefully not take too much damage in one turn. But now we can act slightly faster and potentially get a few actions under our belt in a single turn. Though this Fire Giant is also going to start smashing us here. And we are fully in emergency mode. Not great odds to fear these buddies. We could blink out. We could cast blink and just cross our fingers and hope that we don't get put adjacent to too many monsters. If we get put out here whatsoever, especially if we get put somewhere like down here, that's an ideal situation, and we'll definitely be okay. If we're thrown out to this side, fortunately, Spring Air Mage does have Airstrike, which is going to hit us, I guess, no matter what, if we're in sight range of them. I don't know if I can out-heal the rest of the damage availed to me, even with a potion petition. We could hope that we roll slightly better, because there are just, you know, about 1/3 chance on all these buddies to hit us. Let's take a sip from our drink, give it a moment to resonate in the old brain here, and decide after we manage to give it at least a little bit of thought. We're also fast. I think I will risk it. We'll potion petition once more. Heal wounds, magic, and haste. We're already hasted, but that's still a pretty solid get. Unfortunately, there's a lot of damage arrayed in front of us. Could Ozokubu's, and it's likely to take out some of these targets. Or we could use our slight better survival state to try and get out of here in a more traditional way, or get more potions down, whether that be manually drinking them or throwing some more money at our problems till they go away. I think I'm going to risk an Ozokubu's, and hopefully we can kill off most of the adjacent monsters here. That's definitely a good start. We'll do one more. And now we just have a frost giant. We are hasted though, so we can kind of dance around the problem a wee bit. How much damage can you do? 3d25. So 75, which goes down to 37 damage with our resistance. Probably can't kill you in one manifold assault. As much as it almost feels like a slight waste of our haste. And we do like to make haste and not waste. We should run away though. We can let our regen amulet heal us back up to a half decent point. And then, oops, let's not do X question mark. Let's do Z question mark, shall we? And see what else is at our disposal. We could Mephitic Cloud, hoping to get a Confuse off, or OTR in combination with Ignite Poison is fairly solid against this buddy in particular. Let's start it off. Then a Manifold Assault, which, of course, we just barely scratch the Frost Giant. Not great. So let's instead retreat. Don't need to use the haste. Don't need to push ourselves further than strictly necessary. Let's instead just play it safe here. Head back down in one piece. And now we'll keep comboing Ignite Poison. Wow, that didn't do nearly as much damage as I thought it would. Well, guess we're just going to fight them the old-fashioned way. That's cool too. Make sure we have Statue Form enabled. Keep forgetting, even this far into the run, that oftentimes the better answer is to just start wailing on them in melee, because we deal a lot more damage that way. At least more consistent damage, but some more evocables is nice and solid. I wish we had a Condenser Vein by this stage, but Phantom Mirror on its own is going to help us out in a huge way in the future. And so, now that we've got through a terrifying situation, let's recheck how our skilling is going. Unarmed is still coming up slowly but surely. We can see how far along Stormform has come as well. Down to 16%, so it's definitely getting there. Largely that's due to just the sheer amount of intelligence that we've managed to stack up with the items we're wearing. Because we don't actually have too high of a transmutation skill here. But Ice Magic can definitely go off for now. Ozokubu's is fine staying at 5% for the time being. And do I want to train up anything else? Could bring that transmutation up concurrently, if just to give us extended duration on our transmutations as well. On top of that, we also would gain slight increases to the amount of AC that Statue Form gives us. Not a huge thing, but it's still every little bit helps along the way. And last but not least, we could start back on training evocations. maybe make some of these new items we picked up slightly more efficable. For the time being, let's maybe turn on transmutations. We'll bring this up to 15 at the very least. We can satisfy all you folk who like your integer numbers, and we want that skill going up anyway, so that works out both ways. And then, on top of that, I think I will turn evocations on just a slight bit here, bringing it up to 14 in the hopefully near future.